Welcome to the Doctors Who podcast. We are covering The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, and today we're talking about Part 5, Snow and Ash. In this section, Elend and Vin head north in search of the well. Little do they know that Sazed has tricked them to heading north in order to save their lives because he knows the city will soon be overrun. Vin and Elend figure it out. Vin uses a mighty display of allomancy to get back to Luthadel in time to save some of their friends from certain doom. By the time Elend arrives, he finds that Vin has already forced Set, Penrod, and Straff's second in command to swear fealty to him as the new emperor. We're going to discuss all this, probably more, so stick around. Hello, we are the Doctors Who podcast. My name is Chris.
My name is Brian.
And I'm Chip.
We are talking Section 5, or Part 5, of The Well of Ascension, Snow and Ash. Why don't we go ahead and just jump right in. Chip, you want to tell us what you liked, what you didn't like?
Sure. This part was fun, and I think we were talking a little bit before this. There's not a lot of plotting that's happening here, but there's a lot of action, so it gets exciting. They kind of pulls Vin out. He uses a plot device to get kind of Vin out of Luthadel when the Koloss attack. And then my favorite part of this is just Sazed. I don't know why. He's such a great character, and he's such a mild-mannered character until he has to step up and do something, and he just totally kicks a bunch of Koloss ass, but he's still not enough, and he has to wait for Vin to get back before she figures out how to control them, and kind of ends the chapter, ends this part, but again, it's not really, like I said, there's not a lot of plot points to talk about. It's just a lot of good action sequences. So it's that Sanderlanche where everything kind of all starts to come together.
Yeah, I think I was a little concerned when they split up as far as the party goes. I wondered maybe if there was a chance that Brandon Sanderson was going to kill off some of the party. I didn't feel like everyone would die, but I thought there was a good chance at least 2-3 people could die from this. And so it seemed like a good way to save Vin if they really thought that she would be the hero of ages, maybe just save her and save the king or Elend and save Spook because he was young. But it was all for naught because they were only apart for a couple chapters before they're like, oh shoot, we have to get back and save the city, and if there's even a city left to save. I thought it was a culmination of everything we've read till this point. It was really kind of the ramp up, getting everyone where they needed to be before, and then even during that huge epic fight, the city siege, everything with the Koloss, everything just seemed like it was impending doom, and I thought it was well done, and it kept increasing the pace the further in this section that we got.
Okay, so a couple of things from my perspective. I usually don't enjoy action in books, right? Whether it was Orson Scott Card talking about the zero-G fighting, or whether it's, other things that I've read, right? It oftentimes it falls flat for me, and this didn't. I found that this was engaging. Sanderson did a great job of keeping me interested. He did a great job of telling the reader what was happening in a way that was easily understood. So that was good. I appreciated that very much. When they're planning for the attack and they know the Koloss are surrounding the city and going for the 5 separate gates, and they put somebody from the party at each gate, I didn't think that Sazed's gate would be the last one to fall. But to your point, just the way he owned kind of this area of the book just was really well done. And it was kind of cool from Vin's perspective, because she's probably been burning metals constantly for how long. And for her to do this huge pewter drag and then get back to the city and then have to fight off and kill probably hundreds of Koloss, I mean, it just, it was just, I don't know if masterful is the word, but just the way he managed to like wrap everything together into these really cool set pieces or end pieces. It was just really satisfying to me. So
I like some of those things, like the callback. So early in the book, she was trying out the duralumin metal and trying to figure out what it did, and was struggling. And it's like she couldn't figure it out, and then eventually she figured out. Didn't she use it to push on Orasur, and really affected him?
Yep.
You know, and then that kind of comes back again with the Koloss, that she's out of pewter, she's, you know, kind of out of metals. She's got this. She tries it, and all of a sudden she realizes she can control the Koloss.
Well, because she remembers Orasur or Tensur.
That they were,
whatever.
because the Koloss and the
Khandra
Khandra were,
right, exactly. So
both created by the Lord Ruler, and then
and her being like, okay, he had to have had a way to control the Koloss, like he had a way to control the Khandra.
Yeah.
So,
but it's just funny how that metal was introduced early in the book, and then it has a kind of a part to play here, and I finished the book, so I know it's coming. But there's another part that it plays a part in the final part of this book too.
Right.
What I also appreciated was that, at the end, after, well, let me back up. Did either of you, because this was kind of a point of confusion for me, like she used the Duralumin against the Koloss, but I'm confused on what exactly happened there. I didn't really follow what she did and how that impacted.
It was a little wibbly wobbly. I mean, it seemed like she almost reached inside their minds and was able to kind of give them direction, or at least inhibit their base response of like pillage and kill everything.
Sure.
I almost read it like a dog whistle type thing, where it was just something that she did just really like shut them down and allowed her to control them. But I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you exactly what.
But. So maybe that's something for those of you out there who are watching. If you've read this section and you have some insight, we would love it in the comment section.
Yep.
That was not meant to be an innuendo. Comment section is not a word for another part of anyone's anatomy. We would just love it in the comment section.
Down there.
Down there.
So the other one that kind of surprised me is when he killed off Tindal.
Yeah.
He kind of set up this whole relationship between her and Sazed.
I don't know if I liked that. I'll be honest.
It almost felt like, well, I want to kill off one of the crew members, but I don't really want to kill off one of the original crew members. So
like they killed off clubs.
Yeah.
And they killed off.
Well, they didn't. I mean, they make you think they killed off clubs.
Yeah.
Fair.
Because
he took the blade to like the shoulder, didn't he?
Right.
I don't know. One thing I'm kind of glad though is with Kelsier's ghost still kind of looms over everything, but I was worried with the Well of Ascension that they were going to somehow bring him back, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And Sanderson didn't, and I'm kind of glad that he didn't. I miss Kelsier as a character, but it would have just felt tacked on or just tropey if.
But we still don't know who that.
We don't know who the Mist Ghost is.
The Mist Ghost that was pointing, that went to Elend. Right. Because I think we have two of them. We have the one that was, like looming over Elend while he was sleeping in the tent, and then we have the one that Elend found when he was on his way back to Luthadel that was like pointing.
Yeah.
The one that was looming over Elend in the tent seemed to have malicious intent, and Vin ran in to stop him. This one was just like, go that way, do that thing. And they found the terrace camp because of that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where they rescued
the
people that were fleeing from somewhere.
So it almost feels to me like there are two of them out there, or two different entities or something.
And weren't the terrace people, they were fleeing from the Inquisitors, weren't they?
Yeah, because they had basically sacked Terrace Town. I don't remember what it was actually called, but
somewhere up north in the mountains.
Yeah. Which is where they were heading.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So they would have ran into the Inquisitors.
Mhm.
But that makes a lot of sense from what we'd been told before, where it's like, well, one day the Inquisitors were in Luthadel, and the next day
Then
they were
they
just
left.
gone,
Yeah.
and no one had heard from
Yeah, and
them.
they kind of got a looming presence in here that there's a few mentions of them, and
Right.
then
Well, and so who's pulling their strings? Who's controlling
Mhm.
them? Or who are they taking direction from?
I don't know.
So anyway, what I was going to say before I jumped into the whole how did Vin subdue the Koloss thing was, I liked how after that happened, after she kills Straff with her
Mm-hmm.
mega leap of doom, and like you got Penrod and Set comes in and Straff's second in command, how she's basically like, look, you're gonna swear fealty to Elend, he's the Emperor, and this is just the way it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing full well that Elend was purposefully setting things up so the people would have a choice and a voice and a method to still kind of direct their destinies
Mhm.
within the government, right? So for her to just come in and just be like, no, this is what's happening. This is what you're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
because I can kill you if you don't.
It's actually kind of funny when you frame it that way. It made me think how much the two characters of Vin and Elend have actually become more like each other throughout the course of this book.
I would say Elend's evolution's been very strong as far as, he was kind of just this bookie nerd,
Oh
Mhm.
man, yeah.
son of a nobleman.
He had
Yeah.
a great arc in this
And
book.
then
He did.
when he kills Jace, basically says,
Yep.
no,
Yeah.
well,
When-
execute you.
his friend basically.
Yeah.
He's like, you abandoned the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You're gonna die.
Yep.
That was really. I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
that was.
It's like I felt like, oh, that's out of character. And it's like, well, but the arc he's been on, it's really not.
It's not.
Well,
yeah.
because he'd been questioning, am I really worth it to Vin because
Mhm.
she's so much stronger than I am? And then he just kind of started building up that
Yeah.
strength persona, and then he finally did that. And meanwhile, Vin is pretty much like, just kill everything. I really don't care. I came
Well,
from the hood. I don't
Mhm.
care about anything. And then she's becoming more political as time goes on. Like, this needs to exist in
Right.
a certain
Mhm.
framework.
So and another thing, like he went out into the camp initially, like the Koloss camp, and like
Mhm.
intentionally picked a fight with one too.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could kind of see this evolution of like he's between that and like Tindal's tutoring and mentoring.
Mhm.
I think he's figuring out what he needs to do to be
Right.
effective.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, why don't we bow out of this conversation and reconvene for the final piece of this book, which is part 6, Words and Steel. So that'll be coming to you next time. Until then, we would like to thank you for joining us. We would invite you to like this video if you did indeed like it. We invite you to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that when we post new content, you get notified. Lastly, as we said earlier, please hit up the comment section. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. Next time, we're going to wrap up this book. Book 2 of Mistborn will be in the bag, so we hope you'll join us. We'll see you next time, and in the meantime...
Allomancy.